Despite last season's brutal outcome, the Nashville Predators are in a very nice spot when it comes to the future. On today's show, we're going to explain why Nashville's not yet is looking not too shabby.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Predators podcast. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day. We are, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to kick off our Friday, giving a shout out to our Locked On Predators insiders community and to our everydayers who tune in to talk Nashville Predators hockey with us. I am Ann Kimmel. I'm a writer and co-host with Penalty Box Radio, and friends, I have a partner in crime.
That you do. I am Emma Lingan, and I am an NHL reporter and host with the Hockey News.
Well, there is plenty for us to be wrestling with when it comes to Barry Trotz's plans for the Predators next season. But today we are going to set that aside, friends. We are going to take a step back. We're going to look at the longer term picture for the Predators. We're going to explain why the future is brighter than hockey feels right now in Nashville. We're going to tell you why we are optimistic about what's down the road for the Predators. And we're going to get you ready for the NHL Prospect Tournament that is right around the corner. Before we dive into all of that, we want to let you know today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is around the corner. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now. All right, Emma, I always introduce you as my partner in crime, and I just want everybody to know that we take that seriously. And we were talking pre-recording about the felonies that we would maybe commit if we could get away with it. The crime that is in our hearts, but we hold back on. So, while we look sweet and nice, there's a side to us, people.
Don't cross us.
Don't cross us. Yeah. We are lovely people, but deep down in our hearts, there lingers, I don't know, maybe a misdemeanor, maybe not a felony. Maybe.
I always say I'm a delight until you give me a reason not to be. So just don't give me a reason not to be, and we'll be fine.
I love that. I love that. That is so true that you really are. You are a delight. And you know what? When somebody gives you a reason to not be, it's super fun to watch. So also delightful. It's really a win-win.
You gotta harness it. It's a gift. You have to harness it and only use it when necessary.
Yes.
But yeah, you don't want to see that side of me.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe we do. I mean, if the Predator season is right around the corner, who knows?
That's true.
Who knows?
That's true.
Yeah. We are going to not dwell on what that could feel like for Emma and her police record today. We're going to actually look at something a little bit more positive. This week, The Athletic's Corey Pronman published his 2025 NHL pipeline rankings. He looked at all 32 teams, looked at the prospects in the pipeline. The criteria for that, just so that we're clear when we talk about prospects, 22, as Taylor Swift would sing, 22 years old or younger as of September 15th. Basically, in general, you're looking at the draft classes of 2021 to 2025. There are, of course, some of these quote unquote prospects who have notched NHL time, but they are also kind of lumped in. But he evaluates these prospects based on any appearances in the NHL and also just potential projection for an NHL role. So I want the listeners to participate in this with us just for a second, wherever you may be listening to this. So listeners, take 1 second. We're going to give you a minute. And I want you to formulate your guess as to where you think the Nashville Predators fall on the list of franchise pipeline strength. Where do you think they are out of 32 teams? Emma and I are going to tell you, but take a minute because I'm curious to see if listeners are gauging it right or if they're going to be surprised by this. So enter your answers in. Okay. The answer, Emma, as you know, Nashville ranks 10th out of 32 teams when it comes to strength of the NHL pipeline, the prospects in the pipeline. How surprised do you think the average hockey fan would be knowing that about the Nashville Predators right now, Emma?
I don't think that's surprised. And I think if anything, Predators fans, again, who endured last season are thinking, well, we need something to look forward to. So I would rather be ranked a lot higher. If anything, I'd be surprised that they're ranked as high as 10th. And I don't mean that negatively. I truly mean if you look at the last however many years, what do you say, 5 years or so of draft picks, they have been drafting in the bottom half or the bottom third of the order every year. So you're not going to get a Connor Bedard or a Macklin Celebrini or a Matthew Schaefer. Like, you're not getting those top draft prospects, those top 10 prospects, because you're not picking in the top 10. So when you're consistently drafting at where the Predators have been, I would say 10th is about as good as you could expect to be. And when your only top 10 or top 5 pick is Brady Martin, as in top 5 in the order that he was drafted in,
Correct. Yeah.
and he is currently listed as your top prospect in your organization, that's exactly how it should be. And kind of universally, Brady Martin is the Predators' top prospect right now, again, as he should be. Now, this is not me doing any sort of positive PR for the team. I get
The facts are the facts are the facts are the facts.
Listen, people, I am not here saying that, wow, this is 10th, that's the best thing ever. And the Predators have the best pipeline in the land. I'm not saying that, because no, they don't have top level prospect. Like, they don't have that one blue chip prospect.
Yes.
Brady Martin might be the one, but they don't have the guy like that. I mean, I like to look at, say, Chicago, for example. Chicago had 6 first-round picks over the last 2 years. Over the last 3 years, they had 3 picks in the top 5, and one of them was Connor Bedard. So,
Yeah.
naturally, I think Chicago ranks, like, 3rd on that list.
Second. Yep, they're second. Yeah.
So, as one would expect, considering where they have drafted over the last 5 years, that is what is going to happen. But just because the individual talent, and I'm not trying to say that ranking 10th is the same as ranking 2nd. It's all the same. I'm not saying that. I know it's not the same, but I'm saying for where they are, where the Predators have been, this is probably a best case scenario. So they may not have the highest, superstar potential in their pipeline in any of those players, but in terms of depth, positional depth, and like just overall quality, that's a pretty good spot to be in, I think.
I agree with you 100%. And you're right. Ranking second is not the same as ranking 10th, but here let me put a positive spin on this. You have to consider that this list has been formulated, of course, after this past draft, but also after the Nashville Predators traded Yaroslav Askarov, who is considered to be one of the top prospects when it comes to the NHL. Now, San Jose Sharks rank first, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But you have to consider, like you said, where Nashville generally drafts, and the fact that they have only had one top 5 pick in the last millennia, probably not that long, but it feels that long. The fact that they are consistently able to pick prospects that experts look at and say, there is an NHL projection here, should make people feel maybe a little bit better about the draftability of the franchise. Now, we've talked about this. There have to be questions about drafting and development when you look at the Nashville Predators, because you can draft a great player, but if you cannot develop that player in your pipeline and in your system, you just wasted everybody's time. So there is some things that this franchise has to look at when it comes to development. But the criticism about drafting, this sort of makes you go, because Nashville, like you said, they are drafting around 20th. They're averaging the 20th overall pick. and they're in the top 10 of this league. Coming up, we're going to tell you who is ahead of the Nashville Predators when it comes to prospect pipeline strength and talk about what they have in common that Nashville doesn't. It's definitely something to think about. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. It is here. The NFL season is almost ready to kick off. FanDuel's going to make sure you're ready for the action with a can't miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you're going to get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. FanDuel is a great place to get started because it fits however you like to bet, whether it is player props or building a same game parlay, or even if you like to jump in live as the action unfolds. It's going to make every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye out on your fantasy lineup. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting fanduel.com to get started. That's fanduel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, Emma, talking about Nashville ranking 10th when it comes to the strength of their prospect pipeline. Let me read you the teams in front of Nashville. Number 1, the San Jose Sharks. Number 2, Chicago Blackhawks. Number 3, the Mammoth/Coyotes. 4, the Ducks. 5, Canadians. 6, Kraken. 7, Flyers. 8, Blue Jackets. 9, the Islanders. You all just snuck in there because you got Matthew Schaefer. We know that you're a phony, but whatever, New York Islanders. And then 10th is the Predators. Emma, when I read that list, there is something very consistent about most of these teams that is not true about the Nashville Predators if you take away recency bias. And that is the fact that these teams have had to absolutely suck. Not by choice. Some of them have. But these teams have not had much success at all making the postseason, or if they made the postseason, getting anywhere in it. So you're looking at a Nashville Predators team who has a much better postseason record than most of the teams ahead of them on this list. And yet Nashville is still in the mix for having a really strong pipeline of prospects. Look at Nashville.
Yeah, like what those teams had to deal with is like this last Predator season, but like
on repeat.
5 years of that at least. It's like 5 years until it kind of starts coming together. And it's
you and I would be like the crypt keepers if that's what Nashville goes through. Can you imagine?
I might be dead, honestly.
Yeah.
I might not survive it. But you know what? I think that again, people have the whole, like, oh, Nashville needs to tank. They need to sell. They need to whatever. Listen, it's not happening, at least not intentionally. They're not going to do a Chicago or a San Jose and completely, like scrap it down to the studs and rebuild it right now. It's not happening. So let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
It's not happening right now. Not to say it never will, but with the pieces they have and the general manager they have, they want to win as soon as possible. So it's not going to happen.
Yeah. And this should make people feel a little bit maybe more comfortable as Barry Trotz talks about the plan, because he does talk about the now. The now has been, we saw the now last season, and the now was unpleasant. We'll see what this season brings. And of course, we'll prep you as best we can for whatever that's going to look like as we get closer to the season. But the not yet should be believable when you look at this list, because again, Nashville 10th, they again don't necessarily have the Bedard, the Schaefer, the Macklin Celebrini here. And Nashville, for as painful as first round exits can be, I get that, they haven't had to do what other teams have done to get a pipeline that has a lot of NHL potential in it. And while you can say the now sucks, the not yet is really possible. Barry Trotz isn't just hoping. it is possible for Nashville to be a competitive team down the line when you look at the potential. And I like what you're saying. I think it's important to note while the Predators don't have maybe that elite player, again, waiting to see what happens with Brady Martin. He's our top pick. But you do have consistent quality depth in the pipeline. Defensively, you've got some depth in that pipeline, and they made it a point to add to that in this past draft. You look at some of the offensive pieces that they have. Igor Surin is going to play in the NHL, friends. Like, I'm just telling you. And when he does, it's going to be so much fun. But Igor Surin is going to play in the NHL. Riker Lee is going to be an NHL player. And so while they may not be the big fish from their draft class, Nashville has done a good job identifying players who other people objectively say that's a player with NHL potential.
Yeah, it's good organizational scouting, I think. I mean, you get to, I mean, again, I go back to Roman Josi was a second round pick, right?
Mhm.
And like all of these pieces, it's not always going to be like the best, I don't know, like your top prospects are top prospects for a reason. And just because Nashville's top prospect is not at the same level as Macklin Celebrini, like that doesn't mean that as a whole, well, their pipeline is terrible. It's like, no, they actually have, they have good depth just because the floor isn't as high. But the ceiling could potentially be higher. You just don't know. But like you said, you've got future NHL players here. And also you don't build a pipeline overnight. Like it's not
Correct.
just coming together after 1 year. Like, again, like you said, you don't lose on purpose unless you're Chicago, and I'm pretty sure Chicago's losing on purpose because they want Gavin McKenna, and they will get him because they're the
Tinfoil hats.
Blackhawks.
We wear them when it comes to some things.
Mark my words. Yeah, Gavin McKenna will be a Chicago Blackhawk, and
My
that's
heart will
just
shatter.
the way life works. But anyway, I think that, again, bottom line is that Nashville's, for where they've been drafting these last several years, basically every year except the year they got Seth Jones at number 4. I mean, this is kind of the best case scenario. You're not going to end up with a number 1 or even a number 5 farm system when you're drafting like 15th or lower every year.
Yes.
That's not how it works. So that doesn't mean that your farm system's terrible. It just means that you're not getting the top draft prospects because of where you're drafting. So it's like, it's really not that deep. It's not that big of a deal that they rank 10th. I would actually argue that that's like pretty good.
I think it's really good. Like you said, especially where this team is used to picking, they are hitting on players that outside sources are saying, yes, that is an NHL potential player right there. And I think that's good. The other thing I think is encouraging when it comes to Nashville is I feel like Nashville has done a good job to be cognizant of balancing offensive talent, defensive talent, and ever mindful of the goaltending. And I think some franchises lean so heavily into picking up these offensive pieces that then there's a gap in their pipeline when it comes to defensive pieces, and your offensive pieces have matured and now your defense is playing catch up. So I think across the board, Nashville has been pretty consistent in making sure that they've got the right pieces in all of the positions. And that is reassuring. I feel really good about this information. I think this is information that should be very encouraging to Nashville Predators fans who are saying, I think Barry Trotz is making it up. Now, he may be making it up about the now, but the not yet is feasible, you all. Like, other people are seeing the potential.
Yes, like you said, he may be winging it a little bit right now. And you know what? That is what it is. But just because we don't agree with the decisions that he's making about the now doesn't mean that we just automatically write off every decision he makes about anything ever. Like, the not yet does look pretty good right now.
Yes.
And we have no reason to say that it's not, because we haven't seen it yet. Like, why, why are we already so down on the, I'm saying this preemptively because I just know what we're going to hear back. It's like, I'm getting up. I'm getting ready. I'm getting, proactive
We're
here with my
prepped for
defense.
action.
I'm defending my own takes, not the Predators, because I don't work for the Predators and I'm not required to give them good PR in any way. This is genuinely what I think. I think when you are consistently a playoff team, which the Predators were for 8 years in a row, you're not going to be drafting at the top of the order. And so you're not going to end up you're not going to end up with a top system because you don't have one of those like number 1, number 2, number 3 picks in your system. And that's just how it's weighted. That's how it works. But that doesn't mean that you don't still, like you said, have a ton of NHL level, not yet NHL level, but soon to be NHL level talent.
Yeah. And if you want to get your eyes on some of this future potential NHL talent, you can do that coming up. Emma and I are going to tell you about the Prospect Tournament that is right around the corner. We're going to tell you about the players on the roster that we are most excited to see. And then we're going to talk to you on this Friday about some look forward topics. All right, Emma, we are going to dive in and talk about Little Sprouts in just a minute. But first, we do have an important request for our listeners. Locked On wants to hear from you. We have put together a survey to learn more about our listeners and to make your favorite podcasts even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer some questions about our advertising. If you want to take part in our survey, we would love to have your feedback. You can go to lockedonpodcasts.com/survey to get started. Everybody who completes a survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, you can check out the survey at lockedonpodcasts, that's plural, .com/survey, and you can find the link in our show notes as well. All right, Emma, this week the team announced the dates for, I call it rookie camp. I don't think that's probably the correct terminology. The NHL Prospect Tournament, I think, is the correct terminology. It kicks off September 10th here in Nashville, and that's going to be team meetings. That's going to be physicals with the young Sprouts. And we're talking about draftees. We're talking about unsigned draft picks. We're talking about some invitees that they have brought in. We're talking about some free agent signings. Young Sprouts coming in. It's, of course, led by one of our favorites here, Carl Taylor, and his staff are going to be leading this. And then fans will get an opportunity to take a peek at the Sprouts September 11th, 9:30 a.m. at Centennial Sportsplex. They're going to have an open practice where we're going to see some of these players as well. So 23 scheduled to attend. Emma, when you look at this roster, which player do you think is going to garner the most interest and attention from Predators management?
Brady Martin. Yeah. I think Brady Martin, I mean, that's just where everyone's looking at right now for all the reasons that we just talked about, that this is the highest draft pick that they've had in years. And so they want to see. And I don't say that meaning like, oh, where can he fit into this roster right now? I mean it as how close is he? Is this something where like next season we see him at the NHL? Or it's like, okay, we know he's still a ways away. What specifically do we need him to work on? And so I think that that's going to be a big piece. See how he is among, the more seasoned prospects like the Tanner Mollendykes, for example, who've been here for a few years. And then on that note, I would throw Tanner Mollendyke in there too. I think that he's one that is definitely going to be garnering a lot of attention. He got the longest look at training camp last year. We know that Brunette was pushing for him to make the roster last year. And so it was like, no, not quite yet. And so send him back to junior. But he's now eligible to play in the AHL. So I think that one might be an interesting one to watch. Like, will he go to the AHL? Will he go straight to the NHL? We don't know. But obviously he's a left shot defenseman. got quite a few of those here in Nashville. So now, if only he was a right shot, he'd have a seat at the table already.
Darn right.
Yeah, I think I could be a right shot defenseman and I could play for the Predators.
They'd give you a look, Emma. They would absolutely give it a serious consideration if you were a right shot defenseman.
Yeah,
for sure.
If only.
If only.
Yeah,
you could grow like Riker Lee and like be right there.
I don't know. I've been the same height since I was like 11, so I'm not really holding out hope for a growth spurt, but maybe.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think if we're going one offense, one defense, that's where or one forward, one offense and defense. Can you tell? I just,
you were baseballing.
I was actually fantasy footballing for a second. So that was a moment. Forgive me.
We may circle back to that. We're going to circle back to that, I think.
One forward, one defenseman. That's where I'm going.
Yeah. I agree with you about Brady Martin. I think every opportunity that the management has to get their eyes on him, especially in a situation where he is going to be competing against, like you mentioned, players who have AHL time, that is such a great way to gauge his development, where he's at, what you got in this 5th overall pick. One that I am really watching, and that I think management is going to be like watching like a hawk, Joakim Kimmel. And everybody's probably like, what is he doing there? Like, he's too old for that. Joakim Kimmel is like 6 years old, you all. We forget. He's not really. I think he's 21. Maybe. Yeah. He might be 20.
He might I think around 21, but he might as well be 6.
He might as well be. Yeah. And people have this perception about Joakim Kimmel. And I think you think he is older than he is because this has been such an exciting player for so long. I mean, the Predators literally, he was the steal of his draft in 2022. Everybody was like, how did you get him at 17? And we've all been chomping at the bit to see him. I feel like his NHL debut last season was just whelming. Not really over. Not really under. It was just whelming. But I do think this is a player a lot of people have automatically slotted into the opening night lineup. And so I think management, coaching staff, and I think fans too are going to really be watching Kimmel every second that he is on the ice for everything from now until the opening night of NHL hockey to see if he is ready. I'm really curious to see how he does. And I think he is going to be one of those players based on experience, based on his particular skill set. He is going to stand out. I just think it's going to be interesting to see if we see everything from him we want to, for him to end up on the opening night roster.
Yeah, I think it's for me, he's gonna be one of those ones like back when we had development camp in July, when Matthew Wood was there, and it was like you wanted to see a clear divide between Matthew Wood and the rest of these prospects. Like, you should be able to tell which one has played in the NHL before. And I thought you could. With Wood. Now this, like, not necessarily you should be able to tell which one's played in the NHL before, but it's like, if he is really ready to take that next step and he's got more AHL experience than any of these guys, we should be able to tell.
Yes.
Like, it's one of those things where you want to go into it almost blind, like not knowing anything about these players. And it's like, Kemell should be the one that stands out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If you want to get a look at Kimmel, if you want to get a look at Matthew Wood, if you want to get a look at Brady Martin, and you do, they're very fun to watch, these guys. Again, September 11th, 9:30 a.m. Centennial Sportsplex. They're going to have a practice there. Then they are hopping on a plane, y'all, and they are flying off to the Prospect Tournament. Nashville will be playing a round robin tournament against the prospects from Florida, ranked 29th when it comes to pipeline strength. Tampa Bay, ranked 28th when it comes to prospect strength. And Carolina, who ranks, just FYI, 18th in pipeline strength. So it's going to be interesting to watch those games. You'll be able to watch them. I believe the Nashville Predators website will stream those games. They're going to be away in Florida. So it's a great opportunity to get a look at the not yet. And like we're saying, the 10th overall in the league, not yet, not too shabby for a team who has not absolutely embraced a tank. I do want to touch on one thing. I almost hate to say it out loud because at the time of this recording is a very important preface to this. At the time of this recording, Luke Evangelista has not signed a contract. Luke You're killing me. I do also want to say that NHL rumor report said that they're hearing that the sides are apart on term, and says that they speculate the Predators may be one of those teams who are a little bit more interested in shaking things up than the teams dealing with other RFAs that who are unsigned. For the love,
Don't do this to us.
don't do this to us. Like,
Yeah.
we did 84 years. Sign Luke Evangelista. Sign Luke Evangelista. Yeah. Which ties in to a new segment. We're trying it out. We're feeling it out. It might work better in the regular season, but we're calling it Look Forward Friday, Emma. And since we may just embrace Misery Monday, we figure we better end on a good note. So Look Forward Friday, talking about
I
things.
forgot about Misery Monday.
I'm afraid we won't be able to forget about it come
Ugh.
October, Emma, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
No,
see.
you're right.
But on Look Forward Friday, we're going to share some things that we are looking forward to, Emma and I, whether that is hockey related or not. So, Emma, on this Friday, what are you looking forward to this weekend?
I am looking forward to it being a long weekend. It's
Come on,
Labor
girl.
Day, which I keep forgetting. I'm like a week off. I keep thinking Labor Day is next week, and it's not. It's this weekend. So I'm excited for an extra day off. I'm excited the weather is going to be perfect. The weather here has been so nice.
We're in
It's like
fake
the
fall,
one
everyone.
I
Fake
know
fall.
it's like the 1 week a year that it's like perfect. It's not humid. It's not too hot. It's like a light breeze, and if it stays like that all weekend, love it.
Oh, be perfect. Yeah. This is for anybody new. My father-in-law just moved to Tennessee from Pennsylvania. And so we've had to educate him about, oh, friend, this is fake fall. Don't,
Yeah.
because right around the corner is summer and it's going to be hot
Mhm.
as Hades and your air conditioner is going to struggle to keep up. So, but yeah, this is such gorgeous weather for Labor
Yeah.
Day weekend. And why is it almost September? Does anybody know what happened to July and August? Did
I
anybody
have no
see
idea.
anything?
No, I
What
don't
was
know what
that?
happened.
What was that?
I
Yeah.
blinked.
And it's
Ugh.
September. Yeah, I got to get on my September birthday shopping. When it comes to this weekend, Emma, I am looking forward to football, college football. You
Yes.
all know I am going to be cheering for my Nittany Lions. You know I am. They play on Saturday. I also want to give a shout out to a Gallatin guy. Max Kelly played for the Gallatin Green Wave. And he is the kicker now for the South Carolina Gamecocks. So Sunday, August 31st, if you are watching, they're playing Virginia Tech, but Max Kelly maybe doing
All
some
right.
kicking. So I'm like super excited because let me tell you, in my mind, Max Kelly is like 13 with like unruly preteen hair.
He's
And
6
just,
years old.
he
Actually,
is
no.
Joakim Kimmel, who
If
plays football.
Joakim Kemell is 6 years old, then this kid's like 3.5.
I swear to you, he just was. He
Uh,
just was. And now he is going to be kicking. He's a kicker in the SEC. So I am super jazzed to see this really great. He's a great kid. Not a kid play in the SEC, but just football. And this, like you said, the weather is like football weather.
yes.
Come on, y'all. Who is not jazzed for some football?
That's true.
Yeah.
I will of course be rooting my Wake Forest Demon Deacons against the Kennesaw State. I don't even know what mascot they are, but you know what?
That's a barn burner, Emma.
Listen, that's a week 1 matchup if I've ever heard one. And it might be Wake's only win of the year. They got a new coach and they've got a lot going on there. So you know what? I don't know. It's a sure year for Wake Forest
Yeah.
football.
If last season taught us nothing else, Emma, it is to embrace whatever win comes against whoever it comes against, whenever it may happen. So,
That's right.
this may be a great weekend. We're curious, what are you looking forward to on this Friday? Are you a football fan? Don't you dare root against my Nittany Lions. I don't. You can. Let us know what you're looking forward to in the comments. Also, let us know what young prospect you are most excited about in Nashville's pipeline. We're going to talk some more and more in depth about some of these young players coming up next week as well. So be interested to see who you are excited about. Emma, before we log off to go and enjoy the beautiful weather and some football this weekend, let everyone know where they can find you and your work.
You can find me rooting on my Demon Deacons. You can also find me on social media at Emma_Lingan, and you can find my work at the Hockey News.
You can find me cheering on my Nittany Lions. I used to paint my boys in like blue and white paint when they were little and like couldn't It's like when they couldn't protest, I would paint them. Like I would put the little paw print and stuff on them on games. I probably won't do that because they're like grown men now and can fight back. But I might have a paw print on my face rooting for the Lions this weekend. You can find my work when it comes to hockey with Penalty Box Radio. You can find me on social media at AnnK_Mama on Ice.
And I'm sorry, I have to interject because it was going to bother me. So naturally, I just looked up the Kennesaw State University mascot, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. Scrappy the Owl.
Let's freaking
Scrappy
go.
the Owl. Now, not against my Demon Deacons. Like, no, sorry, Scrappy. This is not your time. But any other time, 10 out of 10 mascot. Love that.
I'm obsessed with owls, so I'm a little bit torn, Emma, here.
No. There's nothing to be torn about. It is go Deeks all the way. Week 1. After that, go Owls.
This may be where Emma and I get into that misdemeanor fight. So we're going to log off real quick before it happens. We hope that you all have a fantastic Friday, a great weekend with lots to look forward to. We will be back next week. We will be off on Monday for Labor Day, but we will be back with all new episodes starting on Tuesday. So we will see you then.